Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
One person sent to the hospital after a car crashes into a plane on a Rockford street. Investigators tell us what they know about the unusual collision. Days after a tornado clipped campus, Rock Valley College calls on the community to help with cleanup. The result is a lesson in people helping people. Winnebago County schools will take on a much different look this fall. Local districts share some of the changes they're making to keep everyone safe. Good evening, I'm Eric Wilson. Mimi Murphy is off tonight. An incident at a local airport ends with a car on top of a plane. This was the scene in front of Cottonwood Airport around noon today. The pilot of the plane reportedly slid off the runway and then came to rest on Auburn Street. Investigators say a car then hit that plane, ending up on the wing. The driver of the car was hurt but is expected to be okay. A passenger in the car, the pilot, and a plane passenger were not hurt. First responders say they trained for this.
Our mind is to make sure that the diesel fuel is taken care of and the patients are taken care of so that we don't have any fires, and make sure all the patients, if they got to be transferred to the hospital, get their injuries taken care of.
The Winnebago County Sheriff's Office and the Federal Aviation Administration are investigating. Police arrest a Lyle man they say was posing as a cop in South Beloit to scam people out of money. Nicholas Cercelli was arrested Thursday. The 48-year-old is charged with false personation. Wednesday, South Beloit police say he was contacting local businesses trying to collect donations for the Shop with a Cop program. Cercelli has no connection to local police. If you think you might be a victim, call police at the number on your screen. It's 815-389-3491. You can also find that number at mystateline.com. We are once again keeping our eyes on Rockford City Market. May 30th Alliance is holding another demonstration there. This is a live look near Joe Marino Park. Group is fighting against actions taken by Rockford police during protests May 30th. Organizers of City Market say protesters are not allowed on the grounds. The market now expands into Waterside Park to keep protesters and attendees apart. Last week, about a dozen protesters were arrested after they blocked off East State Street. Based on that video there's only a handful of people there right now. With the fall semester just a day away, Rock Valley College gets some much-needed help after it was hit hard by Monday storms. Alexis Carpello was on campus today. She tells us volunteers were ready to answer the call.
Rock Valley College was in the path of one of Monday's tornadoes. Now they're asking for volunteers to help pick up debris that's scattered across the Mulford campus.
You never figure it's going to actually hit, your area until it actually does.
This footage taken from Rock Valley College's security camera shows the EF1 tornado. Now fast forward 4 days later, and many throughout the state line are still waiting for their lights to turn back on.
We have more crews on site. We have more vegetation on site, managers on site, which is important because there are so many trees down. A majority of these outages were caused by fallen trees, tree branches, wind-blown objects in the lines, things like that. So it's important to clear off the trees so our technicians can get to the lines safely and make sure we're able to operate and connect and restore people and power.
But there is good news for those still without electricity.
We just don't know what we're going to run up against during the next outage that the crews drive to, but I would say 11 o'clock tonight, but we still may have a few scragglers.
As homeowners pick up branches in their backyard, volunteers stepped up to help clean up RVC.
It'll be months that we'll be tallying all the results of all the damage that was incurred.
Classes start tomorrow, and roads and walkways need to be clear.
Anything they asked me to do, truthfully. I didn't know what that was, so I just came prepared.
We have a lot of metal debris. A lot of the roofs here are shake roofs, so they're a piece of wood with nails that hold it down, and hundreds, if not thousands, of those shakes were thrown into the air and throughout the campus.
These cleanup efforts will continue tomorrow. For more information on how you can help, head to mystateline.com. In Rockford for your home team, I'm Alexis Carpello.
In the coming weeks, back to school will mean back to the classroom for many Winnebago County students. Questions remain, though, as to what that will look like. Brittany Toulis joins us live from the Winnebago County Health Department. Brittany, some area school districts shared some changes that will be in place.
That's right, Eric. Administrators from 4 Winnebago County schools shared how student life will look different this fall. In the Kinnickinnick School District, officials say each piece of furniture in early education classrooms has been thought out and strategically placed to help keep kids at a safe distance. School nurses will wear specially fitted N95 masks all day. If a child gets sick or shows COVID symptoms while at school, they'll be put in isolation rooms. Rockford Public Schools decided to call those rooms lounges to make them sound a little less scary to kids. Winnebago County Health Department Director Dr. Sandra Martell addressed a now viral image of a Georgia school hallway packed with students in between classes and what area schools are doing to minimize exposure during that time.
But understand that those class change periods are designed to make the amount of contact minimal so that we are getting them through. And so some calls are one way, some of them can only change out. And some of our schools, the teachers are changing the rooms.
Coming up at 6, we'll hear what a day of in-person learning will look like inside of a District 205 school. But for now, live in Rockford for your home team, I'm Brittany Tulis.
Thanks, Brittany. The state reports the highest number of new COVID-19 cases since May. More than 2,260 have tested positive over the last 24 hours. 25 more people have died, including a DeKalb County woman in her 60s. 14 counties are at a warning level. The closest are Kane, LaSalle, and Bureau counties. Last week, we reported Winnebago was on the list, but that is no longer the case. New changes from the Food and Drug Administration mean the list of ingredients in the food you buy might not be completely accurate. Officials say it's to protect strained supply chains. Trevor Shirley reports parents of kids with food allergies say the changes have created a dangerous guessing game for them. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Erin Mallowar's 15-year-old son Miles has food allergies. She says even in normal times, it's hard to find food that's safe.
In these times when the guidance is relaxed, it's even harder and frankly almost impossible.
The FDA says it temporarily relaxed food labeling guidelines to help the food industry deal with pandemic-related shortages of some ingredients. Now, food manufacturers can swap out some ingredients for others without updating the list of ingredients on food packaging.
When we read ingredient labels now, I have to guess, frankly, when I put it into my cart, whether this food will ultimately be safe for my child or not.
It is worth noting none of the 8 major food allergen groups, which include peanuts, tree nuts, dairy, and shellfish, can be substituted without a label change.
But there are over 170 different foods that can cause life-threatening reactions.
I think a lot of people may not have even been aware about the relaxation of the guidelines.
Dr. Vivian Hernandez Trujillo, a pediatric allergist, says parents need to be even more attentive to what their kids eat and watch for dangerous reactions.
You want to read the labels, but you want to just see how the child does.
The FDA says it encourages food manufacturers to post changes, even minor ones, to a product's website or put up notices where the products are sold. The FDA promises the relaxed guidelines will end when the public health crisis is over. Reporting in Washington, I'm Trevor Shirley.
A local healthcare system gives back to first responders. Swedish American presented the Rockford Fire Department with $10,000. It's part of Swede's sponsorship of the department's annual 911 3K. This year's race has gone virtual due to COVID. The money will be used to educate the community around fire prevention, safety, and risk reduction.
Fire safety guides, coloring books with activities as far as fire escape plans, that kind of stuff is really beneficial, and the kids actually can do assignments on their own, especially now with so many kids staying home for schooling this year. It's really helpful that they have these materials.
Rockford Fire has direct contact with more than 60,000 people every year. The city of Rockford makes its final push to ensure everyone is counted in the 2020 census. New resources are being focused on the center part of the city on both sides of the river. Return rates there are well below the community, state, and national averages. A $70,000 state grant will be used on a multimedia campaign to emphasize how important the census is. Census workers are going door to door in the area as well. According to city administrators, each person missed can add up to $15,000 in lost federal funding over 10 years.
We still then need to provide the different programs and services that everybody relies on, police and fire and infrastructure, new roads and school funding and investment in healthcare and education that comes from federal dollars. that are allocated based on census data. So, 5 or 10 minutes of your time provides an incredible return on investment.
By law, personal information gathered by the census cannot be shared with other federal agencies like ICE or the FBI.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
Lots of sunshine out there as we wrap up our Friday afternoon. A live look with our Merced SkyTrack camera out of the Park Hills Golf Course here in Freeport. Beautiful evening in store. We are expected to stay dry. Temperatures a little warmer here this evening as we head into the overnight tonight. 83 in Freeport, Monroe, 84 in Janesville. One of the warmer spots here in Rockford at 87 and 85 now. Our current temperature down in Rochelle. Our weather watcher Mike just north of Forston this evening checking in with 83 degrees. Says he's got a light wind, mostly sunny skies, and no rainfall today. In fact, after the storms on Monday, we have been pretty dry, and it looks like the overall forecast expected to stay dry over the next 7. Now, there is a chance for some showers and thunderstorms working in towards tomorrow afternoon. Those are lining up ahead of a cold front here across the northern plains and the upper Midwest. In fact, with that front, there are numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, even a couple tornado warnings too, extending down from Nebraska and then back off a little bit further off to the southwest. All of that storm activity through this evening is going to stay to our south. That's where the risk of stronger to severe thunderstorms lies across the upper Midwest and then stretching down through the central and southern plains. But that cold front is going to work in our direction as we go through the overnight tonight and into the morning hours tomorrow. But the timing of the front is going to be key. Looks like it's coming through a little earlier tomorrow, which has pushed kind of that risk for some stronger thunderstorms a bit further off to our east and southeast. So here we are. This is very early tomorrow morning, about 3 o'clock during the morning hours. Could still hang on to a couple of showers. We are pulling in a little bit of moisture, so we could see a few very light showers come in across parts of southern Wisconsin and far northwest Illinois during the overnight. But it's not moving into an environment that is very unstable and actually encountering a little bit more dry air. So the anticipation of that by sunrise tomorrow, a lot of this will be fading out during the morning hours. Might still hang on to a lingering shower or two during the morning. This front then will be coming through between about 12 and 2 o'clock tomorrow. Ahead of that, we could get a few isolated thunderstorms to develop, but that risk for stronger storms does lie a little bit further to our east, covering much of Chicago and then back out through Indiana and Michigan tomorrow. So let's kind of put this a little bit more of a local view. Here we are 2-3 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've got a few of those showers working in from the northwest. Notice they kind of fade out as we go through the morning hours. We'll see a few peaks of sunshine during the morning. Here we are at 1 o'clock. Cold front is coming through. A couple of isolated showers lining up along this. This does not look like it is going to be a big rain event for us or a big storm threat, but those isolated thunderstorms during the late morning and early afternoon, and then that threat will shift a little bit further off to the east as high pressure builds in, and this will leave us fairly quiet as we head towards our Sunday. Another cold front comes in Sunday night and Monday, and that'll drop our temperatures down. So 66 degrees, that's where we head for the overnight tonight. Tomorrow, we're up to 84. We'll stay in the 80s on Sunday, Eric, but we'll see those numbers drop just briefly into the 70s by early next week and then back into the 80s by the end of the week.
Pretty clean looking 7-day. Candice, thanks.
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Samantha Rivera.
Well, are you really surprised by this headline behind me? Odds are probably not. Jim Boylan has officially been fired as the Chicago Bulls head coach. He leaves the team with an overall record of 39-84 as head coach. Now, I say most people probably are not surprised by this because it's no secret he just didn't know how to win, nor was he all that well respected, whether it was from the players or the fans. And apparently EVP of basketball operations Arturas Carnichovas must have seen it too, although when reporters at today's press conference tried asking him anything about the reasoning behind firing Boylan, he just said it was a basketball decision. He gave the same answer to everyone, but regardless of the organization's exact reasoning, Carnichovas is looking ahead now, and the search for their new head coach begins immediately. Here's what he said they're looking for.
We're going to continue focusing on player development and emphasis on player development, someone who puts the relationship with players first and is a good communicator. So there are a lot of factors going on in terms of criteria that we're looking at a coach. But again, those are the main ones.
Well, last night was obviously a tough game to watch for Blackhawks fans. Chicago ultimately lost Game 2 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, in terms of getting themselves in a good mental spot, the Blackhawks are confident they can move past the negatives and bring in what they did do well in the loss.
I think we want to park the whole losing in overtime thing, but I hope that we bring a lot of the things that we did in the game into Game 3. I liked our first 2 periods. I thought we were on our toes, playing well, and the third we dropped off a little bit. But obviously, we want to park those negatives, but bring those positives as well to the next game.
Tomorrow night's game begins at 7.
That's all we have time for. We'll see you at 6. Stay safe.